It is a brand new session, and it's a special one. It's a very special episode of Poker Time.
You guys are going to notice something about the players in just a second here.
Or so.
A second and a half, 2 seconds. Jebediah, can you change the camera?
Can we see the players, maybe?
Jebediah?
No.
The new intern is just as...
There we go. Okay.
What's common among the players here? There's Joseph. There's Wonka. There's Jeremy. Is Jeremy new?
I think he's a new player, yes.
Yeah.
For
Terminator, Batiste, Dan. Look at them all. There's Mason. He's the only...
He's the black sheep.
Odd one out. There's Ken. What do you guys notice?
I'm sure they notice, and if they don't, I'm going to point it out. Everyone else, except for Mason, who admittedly was driving from very far away and didn't know what was up, is wearing denim. And there's a reason why.
I guess those of you who know Poker Time would know Batiste is Mr. Denim.
Yes, the Lord of Denim, or as we like to call him, the Lord of Denim.
So this session is somewhat in honor of Batiste because it's the last one before he moves away from Portland, Oregon, where Poker Time is filmed, to the other side of the country.
Yeah.
He might not be back ever. If he is, might be a while. So
there may be some guest starring roles, but as of now, as we said, it's a very special episode. Now, it's not just this 1 hour. It's the next 4 episodes of Poker Time, which captures this session that we're doing right now. And that'll savor the end of Batiste.
Savor some Batiste.
It's like when Joffrey, dies.
Yeah, similar character. I'm sure Batiste appreciates that. Meanwhile, Ken has 5s in his bet into Mason here. There was no action for a long time. Mason going to make the call and win the pot.
Ken says 2 pair as if it's better than it is.
That's what people do all the time, right? Anytime there's a paired board, they're like, I have 2 pair.
At least there was a 4 on the board, so a 4 can theory call.
How often is
since the 6 call?
How often is it top pair when somebody says that? By the way,
it's
unlike the Queen Jack Jack 4-3 board, it's always like a 3 or a 4.
It is never 2 pair, or it's a pocket pair.
It's never like Ace Queen.
2 6s. Yeah, never in a million years.
Yeah,
because that's aces up.
Yeah.
Or they just say
that's queens up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying if there's an ace on the board. Yeah. But it's aces up, or they just say ace. And they turn over their hand or whatever. Yeah, when they have like top pair with an ace.
I get it.
These are the best ones I could find at the Goodwill. So.
Oh, nice.
See, Jeremy actually got glasses as well. Jeremy, I guess, is a new player to the viewers.
Yeah.
He's going to show up a little bit more on Poker Time. I'll say that. He's going to start to become more of a regular. He's going to be around, but he's going for the Batiste look, and he's pulling it off.
You guys should comment on who do you think has the best denim get-up.
I mean, I have an answer. I know what my answer is.
I think the answer is pretty clear.
I wonder if we agree.
I think 1-2 is pretty clear, actually. There's a clear 1-2.
I think I feel the same way pretty clearly. Look at that shot, guys. Look at that shot right there. That says everything. Let's take a look at the other dudes one more time. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's so obvious, right?
When we're heads up, you just throw it in the pot, all right?
But then I'm always...
So we've just been ignoring the poker completely. Yeah. But admittedly, nothing happened except Ken bet the river.
All right, so Terminator limped, and we've got Dan raising the ace-9. Now we have Queen 5 jump into the lead.
Check.
Dan's got nothing here.
Except a love of all things electronic.
There's some straight draws now.
Joseph's going to bet, and I guess there is the gutter for the Terminator, but he folds. There's nothing really happening here.
So the clear number 1 is Wonka, obviously, right?
That is the clear number 1, and to me, Jeremy's the clear number 2. Yeah, I mean, it's all of it. Wonka's hat takes that outfit to 11.
Well, he went beyond Batiste. He went to Bikerland.
Yeah.
It's not even really a Batiste thing that he's doing anymore. It's like he's being a biker.
Like a whole couple weeks?
I played like both weekends. I played 4 of the tournament.
Yeah, they're just talking about what they've done in the past. Wonka looks incredible, and he's the least punchable he's ever been. Right?
Least punchable. Terminator looks like he's really cold.
He does, actually.
Kearney the weekend after.
Little Creek.
Where's that? It's like Olympia, Washington, I think.
And Mason looks like, why didn't anyone tell me?
Yeah. I was going to say, I guess it's local, but I never heard of
Little Creek, it's got to be.
Oh, he said it's local attorney.
It's like Mason walked into a bar, and it's like the after party for a wedding, and he's like, oh, I don't belong here.
To be clear, it's not that Mason knew about it and didn't show up with denim. It's that he drove from very far away, and I think this got organized pretty late.
Yeah.
And it was just too late to make it happen.
And meanwhile, Wonka could lose some chips to Mason here. As Mason bets 15 into 65, that's kind of cool. I hope he's doing that on all dry boards.
Wonka absolutely has to call, of course, on the flop. If I was Mason, I'd be looking to size up the turn.
I don't know if Wonka can fold unless Mason sizes it super huge.
Yeah, sizing up super. See, if he tries to make it for lost value on the flop, he could blow Wonka off the hand, where he gets to a more polarized spot.
Ace 10 is one of Wonka's
Look,
best
here we
hands
go.
here.
He does size it up. He wants more than pot now.
115. This is a cool.
Weird line.
Whether or not it works, it's cool that he's doing it.
Yeah. Let's see how Wonka responds. Wonka has exactly the kind of hand that is probably just not supposed to fold here, right? You can't really just fold ace 10, I would think.
You would expect Mason to take this line with gut shots and open enders as well as kings.
That said, I don't know how much Wonka's played with Mason. As you see, he's just going to make an exploitative fold here.
Or maybe it's
he's right.
Early on in the session, don't know what's going on yet. Fold.
Yeah.
Don't want to just dust off $400 here.
I'm not sure if I've ever played with this guy.
Oh, there you
This
go.
guy.
Who is this
His name's
guy?
Mason.
Played before. Oh, we have. Okay.
He remembers
That's always
you.
a fun answer. When one person remembers and the other one doesn't.
We've only played once then.
No, we've played 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Twice in a cash game, once in a tournament.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Dang.
Steel trap memory.
I think I'll take him in the
I don't know
heads
when I
up
had
battle.
that.
Jeez, so far.
Mason showing his favorite movie is Total Recall.
Yeah. Also showing how insensitive Wonka is. How dare you not remember Mason?
You probably don't remember people's names at bar mitzvahs either, Wonka.
Bar mitzvahs?
Yeah.
Is that a place where people typically forget names?
It's just a place where people gather and where you see people you kind of know.
How many bar mitzvahs have you been to in the last 10 years?
Does this include bat mitzvahs?
Sure.
1 or 2? 1 for sure.
So why would you include bat mitzvahs if the answer was 1 or 2?
Because it was a bat mitzvah that I went to.
Interesting that that's where you go to this gathering that you've gone to once in the last 10 years.
No one's heard of a bar mitzvah, so it's a crazy idea. How dare you?
Anyway, Wonka has a 10.
And Terminator is nothing. And we have not seen a lot of action yet. The one hand that was real
No, of course I'm good.
real possibility was that ace 10 versus ace king.
Often with the best hand again.
The overbet bluff.
Little inside info about this game. Digital Dan actually had a cake made that said something like, "Fare thee well, Lord of Denim."
Yeah.
And it had a little denim jacket on it.
We may have gotten us a photo of that, and if we did, we will put it up at some point.
Yeah.
Probably not till near the end, like episode 4 of this, probably.
Yeah.
But it did happen.
Fold. 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 Fold.
Next time
It's like 45-minute train ride for
It was a good-looking cake.
Yeah.
The person, whoever did the frosting on that jean jacket, was impressive.
Wonka's going to overlimp the button with the Jack 10 off.
Oh boy.
Digital Dan does have a...
I'm just kidding. I'm not owning myself with a die.
Batiste was reaching for Digital Dan's dice there, in case you weren't clear what that was. Digital Dan will sometimes roll the dice, and the dice will determine what he does. It's really something to see.
Terminator flops top pair. So does Wonka. Dan flops middle pair. There could be a little bit of pain here.
Let's get some pain.
That's what we're here for. I mean, that's why everybody's dressed like that, right?
Yeah. Wonka clearly never folding on this flop. Just feels like a 6 always comes on the turn. I don't know. Oh, I'm the best.
Wow. That's kind of weird.
That's 115.
Now it starts to get a little scary for Wonka,
Yeah,
but I don't know if
but
he
it's
can
Terminator,
fold yet.
and Digital Dan folds. You can't just go folding on this wet a board, I don't think. 7-8 gets there.
7-8 did get there. 10-6, 9-6.
Okay. Sure. 10-6, I guess.
There
yeah.
were things that were already there, obviously.
But hearts missed, Jack 8 misses, Queen Jack misses. You block some of those with your Jack. But this is a very standard call, of course, for Wonka.
the river's going to be a little tougher.
Yep. River's going to be different. He's going to think about it, assuming.
Oh, and it just keeps getting better, and Terminator's just praying.
It's a heart.
Praying that Wonka has a flush.
Now it's going to be easier for Wonka to get away with because it's a heart.
Terminator might be thinking this is his payday, though.
He should size it up, trying to get called by a flush.
Yeah, 450 or something. It's like more standard sizing, 220 or something, 230.
I don't know if Wonka's going to call him
Oh,
now.
335,
Oh.
pretty big. I think this is going to be a fold.
I think he's going to fold too. That was kind of a great card for Wonka on the river. Gives him a real chance to get away. can only beat straight draws, and you block some of them.
I fold. My turn.
Yeah. Now, Terminator in his old days would be losing his mind here sometimes. He could have anything, but that's really gone away. He doesn't do that anymore.
I think that was more in the 5-5 days.
Yeah. So a solid over a year ago. Like he has much more. There's much more thought behind his bets and when he's betting and stuff.
And more general discipline, I would say.
Yeah.
Although sometimes the pre-flop ranges still get a little terminating.
They do.
I fold straight 10-6.
But he sort of learned
You
that
have 9-6 again, Randy?
Yeah.
having an image where you just fire away constantly, not always so great if you're actually firing away constantly.
Yeah.
Like these guys will eat you alive if you do that.
6-10.
The Terminator's game has actually changed pretty significantly, I would say. Probably the most of anyone's.
Mason
Since
with
we
ace
started doing
king
this.
again. Second time he's had ace king in 10 minutes.
Here's Jeremy. We may get to see him play a hand.
I mean, with that jacket and those glasses, he looks a little serial killery, doesn't he?
Oh, not a little at all.
like a lot serial killery.
Like, you ever see the show Mindhunter on?
I think I saw a
Netflix?
couple episodes. Yeah.
Like he is one of the subjects. Man, oh man, those glasses really take him to another level. With the haircut too, it all comes together.
Very nice, fun-loving guy, though.
Oh, super friendly guy.
But right there, that's a serial killer for sure.
I mean, they say those guys are the most dangerous, the friendly guys.
We got some hearts out here.
Some cooler possibilities.
6-7 is open-ended for Wonka right now.
Yep.
Nobody else flops anything of any interest.
Wonka's in position also. There's an opportunity here where everyone might just check it to him.
But I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
Same thing.
Wonka checks it back. That's interesting.
Yeah, really interesting.
A 10 is not a card that Wonka wanted to see. It completes a lot of different one-pair type hands.
All it actually does, though, is give Jeremy a gutter to go with his overs.
Do you mean an open-ender?
Yes, I do. I assume he's going to feel emboldened to bet here a lot of the time.
Yeah, unless somebody turned a 10, this is going to get through pretty frequently.
Yep. Or, someone could have turned diamonds and things like that. But Jeremy, by having the betting lead, means everyone can miss on the river and he can bet again and win. Now, Wonka's got to be where there's two flush draws out there. He's looking around there. Yep, we're four-handed.
Probably a fold.
I think he's just going to throw it away.
An 8's not super great, and obviously, as we see, an 8 would be a disaster.
Yeah. But he's got to be thinking, like, Queen Jack is a problem for him.
I fold.
Yep. Professional Wonka, always getting away. I've already seen him make 3 folds that a lot of players probably wouldn't make.
I mean, I think a lot of players fold the Jack 10 on the river there.
I think you're right, but not all of them. But he folded, the ace 10. He folded here. These are just like, fairly standard Wonka spot folds that I think a lot of players would struggle with.
I suppose. I don't know, if you're calling the Jack 10 on the river, you're either pretty bad or you have a very specific read on your opponent.
I agree with that, for sure. Jack 10 is definitely not supposed to be good there. That's the easiest one, for sure. I think a lot of players call there with the 7-6, though. I think a lot of players call it the ace 10. And maybe they're right to call it the ace 10, though, in fairness.
A lot of players bet the 7-6 on the flop and just win the pot,
I do.
by the way.
I absolutely do.
So
It's probably gonna rain, and it's gonna be like this.
Fold.
it could be this way all the way.
Anyway, Jeremy
One more-
breaks the seal.
A little more Dahmer action. Makes it 30.
We shouldn't really call him Dahmer, though, because,
It's bad branding for him.
it's really bad branding for him. It's not fair.
That's
a
too bad.
nice
He's on
guy.
Poker Time, and he participated in the Batiste denim thing in such a way that, now forever he's known as the Poker Time serial killer. That's just how it goes, Jeremy. Sorry, man.
Oh, man. Sucks.
Terminator flops a flush draw. Joseph flops an ace.
Joseph flops top and bottom, actually.
Oh, top and bottom. I didn't even see that. Yeah.
So we could see some action here. In fact, we should.
Jeremy's got a gut shot, which is probably not going to continue, and Mason with just a queen.
Just has a very clear bet here on this wet board. Terminator has, not only does he have a flush draw, he's got position. It's pretty nice.
Makes the call.
Mason has a pair, but it's a trash hand.
There was a time, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where people were raising Terminator's hand all the time here.
Yes.
On this board, it wouldn't probably be the right play.
Don't like it on this
Yeah.
board at all.
And
Bingo, bango,
that's-
bongo.
Now he's got a straight flush draw to go with his flush. What an exciting time. And
Joseph's
Joseph obviously was just hoping for no diamond and also didn't want to see any Broadway. So it's just a really bad card for Joseph's hand.
It's true. Let's see how much Terminator bets.
It's 190.
190. I don't think Joseph can fold, but
Folding sounds wrong.
he's got to be in the torture chamber here.
Terminator absolutely can have things like Queen Jack. He can have an ace with a big diamond. And maybe like ace 10 or something like that with a diamond. That's pretty good
I mean,
card.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of bleak, though, for Joseph.
It's not great, but he knows he has to call here, and I think he's right. This would be an incredible fold. This is way too good to fold yet. Another diamond would be good for him, though. That is not good for him, though.
It's going to be a check figure it out spot for Joseph.
Let's see how Terminator sizes it, because we know he's betting. He has to bet. Surely.
Unless
He
he's
has to bet.
too cold to bet.
He's definitely betting. Looks small.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
225, easy call.
Flush.
Bad luck for Joseph.
Terminator, interesting sizing there. He made sure Joseph wasn't going to be able to make any great folds. Joseph likes to make big hero folds, actually. And sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But
Show for 10 of diamonds.
You guys notice even our dealer, Brittany, is wearing denim? That's how deep this goes.
yeah, you don't even want to know how high up it runs.
Yeah.
All the way to the top. That's the answer.
Yeah.
We're wearing denim right now.
As we do commentary,
Yeah,
denim underwear even.
it's very uncomfortable.
You don't want to buy denim
Do
underwear.
not ever.
There's a reason
ever.
that you can't find it easily.
Get it custom made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. But these jeans are pretty comfortable.
You got to get Batiste's guy to do it. He's got a good smith. Good denim smith.
Anyway, so Joseph takes a little bit of a hit there after flopping so well, and that's how it goes. When you flop well, sometimes you take big hits.
Good advice.
Yeah, it should clear up by then. Yeah.
Looks like some folding is happening.
Wonka's got a hand. Oh no, Wonka had a hand early on, and did it? We can't see it, but Mason is currently. There's Mason.
Looks like he raised to 30 and Ken called with the King Jack. All right.
Easy call for Ken.
Wait. Wait.
Ken flops best.
He destroys worlds. He does it whenever he wants to.
This is a pretty reasonable board for Mason to bet, and it looks like he will. He bets tiny again.
This is his thing. It's cool.
He's Sam Greenwood.
Although Sam Greenwood does it in tournaments. And it's reasonable for Ken to raise here when Mason sizes it like this, blind
Yeah.
versus blind.
And then now Mason has the sizer's dilemma of, well, did I induce this? But his hand is so bad, it's okay, I guess, in his mind.
You got one over that, maybe if you hit it, it's not even good.
And Mason's knowing, in his mind anyway, he's done this twice now. And one time he absolutely had it, and one time he didn't. So it's not, it's hard for the table to take advantage of him when he bets small. It's like he never has it or anything.
Grant, how many seconds?
Unlucky for him that he got raised when he didn't have it.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Would have been nice if Wonka decided to raise a gut shot when he had the ace king or something,
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
If you're under the gun, I don't want to waste anyone's time. We only have
Joseph with jacks here. Maybe.
Joseph likes to limp sometimes with hands like this.
Yeah, we've seen him limp jacks specifically a lot of times.
And hello.
There it is. Yeah.
I'm going to go by. I'm going to get a new nickname, and it's the Predictor, because I've predicted two things in a row.
Batiste is going to oblige.
Yeah, understandable.
I don't think Joseph is going to 4-bet. He doesn't often 4-bet when he does this.
No, he often likes to call. Even when there's a lot of players in, he'll often call.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, a surprising choice. But it does
highly
disguise
deceptive.
the hand.
Highly deceptive.
And just like you said, he is just calling. There's Brittany's denim. You can see right there. She's modeling the denim.
It's a little bit too much denim for me at the table. I'm going to be
I
honest.
feel you, dog. Nothing for anyone. Of course, Joseph still has his overpair. Will Batiste take a shot?
That's 80.
Well, we know this isn't working.
Yeah, no chance Joseph is going to fold.
He's probably not going to raise either, though.
Raising doesn't have a huge amount of value, although there are hands that are worse that could call a raise for sure.
But you could get yourself in a real pickle if you're
Yeah,
Joseph.
It seems like not a great idea.
Great card for Joseph. If he was ahead, he's likely still ahead.
This is one of the spots where being out of position just sucks, and not having the initiative sucks a little bit, right? Because I would expect Batista's often checking back on this card. Oh, Joseph's not going to allow that. He's going to take the initiative. I like it.
Try to make sure you can get called by 8s, 9s, hands like that. And charge, over cards with draws.
Joseph has correctly surmised that Batista's probably checking back maybe his whole range on this turn after he's bet this flop, right? Like even if Batiste has aces, he might be checking.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph has 5-7 in his range, far more than Batiste.
and a 6 as well.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
And from Batiste, even though Batiste would call with aces, of course, in better overpairs, he'd also call with worse overpairs, and Joseph just cannot give a free card here. Oh, he can, but he chooses not to, and I like that. I like that play a lot. I love when people just take the initiative out of nowhere. I think that's cool. People should do that more.
You should do it more.
I should, but other people should too.
Why?
Because
only on poker time though. You don't want them to do it to you. You don't want them to play.
I want them to do it to me, and then I'm gonna crush them.
Oh, okay.
7s or 8s? I don't know. Which one did you have? I can see why you say that, though.
Raise 30. Hold.
The battle of the clubs here so far. Oh, and Mason has ace king for the 3rd time in 20 minutes.
I believe Mason is going to raise.
I believe it's possible Terminator will call.
If he does, Digital Dan might feel obligated to come along if he closes the action. He probably should.
Hold.
In the old days, this is an insta-call for Terminator.
Yeah.
Now he's thinking about it. It's not automatic. You are out of position, likely to 2 players.
And now Dan's probably going to fold.
Yeah, you see Dan's face there. He was thinking, if Terminator calls, I just get to call. But now it's 110, and I'm out of position.
And these guys are probably thinking Mason is playing highly aggressively, but it just happens he's had 3 ace-kings, 3 premium hands.
I thought you were talking about for you.
No, I was talking about.
I mean, apparently no one ever remembers Mason.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't even remember anything about him from earlier in
That's
the
possible.
episode.
Can't wait to see that hand. I folded a big hand right there pre-flop.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Terminator claiming he just folded a big hand.
I mean, maybe to him, 5-4 clubs is a big hand. This is a big hand. I mean, in Terminator world.
In Terminator world.
Joe, this is better than 5-4. This is a hand that can call a few more raises.
Dan just going to flat the ace-queen?
No. Oh, he is just going to flat it. Wow.
Hold.
Sometimes that's a bit.
Okay, here's Jeremy. Let's see if Jeremy changes it up a little bit here or just calls. Ace-queen suited does play okay on the button.
And it's an under-the-gun raise. I think a call is probably the best play.
But Jeremy is a viewer of Poker Time. I know that. And so he knows about Terminator's ranges. So it's not as powerful as someone else opening under the gun.
True.
See, and this is, of course, the problem when you're Jeremy and you just call with the ace-queen is look how many people are in. Now, at least it's suited, so it plays a little better multi-way.
It's okay. You can lose a pot sometimes, and, you know, it's a disguised hand.
But it generally plays better against 1 or 2 opponents.
Well, there's an ace for both Dan and Jeremy, and club draw for Mason.
Yeah.
Check. Check.
And I guess a gut shot for Wonka with a backdoor flush draw as well.
Terminator is going to fire into the whole
he
world.
already checked.
It looked like he was reaching. El Digitale with the bet. Mason's now got a problem of having the world behind him, and it's 125. Still, most players would call here.
It would be really nice to have the nut flush draw instead in a field this big.
Absolutely, or the 6-7 of clubs at least, you know, or a gut shot with the clubs. I mean, that's a combo draw. Of course, you'd prefer to have monster combo draws than the jack.
Now Jeremy overcalling here is not super comfortable with his ace-queen, but has to call.
I mean, he thinks he's usually ahead of Mason, and he just has to now he would have called Dan anyway, so. And now Wonk is thinking, am I getting enough of a price with the backdoor flush?
He might be considering a raise. It would be kind of sweet.
It would be. I don't think he can really call out of position.
And by the way, Dan could have a set pretty easily. So
Dan could. Dan has 5s and 8s, both clearly in his range.
Yeah.
All right, we've narrowed it down to the contenders only.
And that's not a card that anybody really wanted to see, especially Mason, I would say.
This might check through, though, sometimes. Although I don't know if Jeremy's going to let it check through. I'd be surprised if the digital one bet here into the 2 other players.
It's unlikely that either player called with a lone 5.
It is. It's so actually the 5 shouldn't matter, but I still expected Dan to check. Apparently Dan is with you and just thinks like, what am I worried about? That 5 doesn't scare me. Mason can't call.
He's charging the draws effectively, by the way.
Yep.
And now Jeremy's going to be in a weird spot with ace-queen. He's probably going to be forced to call. It's going to be a really good price, but it's like, well, I'm losing like a lot of the time here.
But it's really only to 8s full of 5s, right? And
Dan
ace
has some
5.
ace king that he's going to flat pre-flop.
Maybe a little, but that means he might have ace jack too.
He might. I don't know if Dan would bet ace jack again. It's getting borderline once you get to ace jack.
I'd be really surprised if Jeremy folds, but it's not going to feel good to call.
The river is probably going to go check unless an ace comes, right? Or a queen.
Yeah, at a 5. They could bet a 5. That 10 is not a thrilling card for anyone. The queen does play, of course, but we're having a chop unless someone folds.
I don't see it happening.
No, it's probably going to go check, like you said. There's the first one. Now, Jeremy may be thinking, I'm usually ahead here unless Dan's got like a full house and he's just checking to induce clubs. But he's worried about getting value.
Fair.
Yeah.
They each make a little money, though. It's nice.
Nice.
That's it, guys?
That's it.
Free rolling.
Win. Flop.
Just over 14K in the pot. The turn is the 4 of diamonds.
Hey, what is that? Speaking of turn, coming around the mountain? Is
Oh.
that the Nitrogen Sports Poker train?
I think they did buy a train recently.
If you listen, you can hear its very familiar jingle. And choo-choo. Wait, there's the jingle. Nitro, nitro, nitro. Nitro, nitro, nitro.
Wow, that's the weirdest ad ever. All of a sudden. Anyway, Nitrogen Sports Poker Room is, they let us do ads like this.
They
perhaps
do.
because they don't listen to them.
Free reign, baby. Nitro, nitro, nitro. Nitro, nitro, nitro.
I like your game.
All right, let's see if we got any more chops coming after that beautiful, wonderful advertisement.
You may be wondering what Batista's wearing there as a shirt. That is a Boss Baby shirt. That's legit Boss Baby.
It's to troll a local Portland floor.
Yeah, who looks a lot like the Boss Baby.
Yeah.
And looks a lot like that shirt. You can't really see it, but half the shirt is a photo of the floor.
Yeah.
And the other half is the Boss Baby.
Terminator with queens is just going to flat when the button opens here.
I kind of love it.
This is deceptive. Very deceptive.
Sometimes you're going to get bluffed off the hand, but kind of love it.
Check.
Not a great flop, but it's not the worst.
I mean, you're never folding for one bet.
40.
As you see, Joseph is pretty much always continuing on this board.
Raise 80.
Whoa.
Terminator clicks it back. This
min
is
raise.
a find out where you are raise, I
It's a
think.
very strange play.
Well, he's going to find out that he's ahead, I think. Unless Joseph...
Is Joseph going to do something?
I mean,
he hasn't
doesn't-
folded.
He certainly hasn't insta folded. I mean, if Joseph even just calls, he's got a great chance to win this hand.
10 seconds.
Joseph is going to call. And
He senses weakness. He realizes this is a figure out where you are raise and not like a set.
it's also very cheap for him to call, which makes it a little easier to do this. Great card for Joseph.
Yeah, and
Terminator checks right away, and boy, Joseph could have an ace.
he really could.
When it was only 40. Joseph looks like he is going to fire.
This is cool. This is a cool play. 250 over the size of the pot, and Terminator calls quickly.
Oh, my goodness. Terminator does not allow himself. This is a great hand. Big miss for Joseph on the end.
It's going to be really tough for Terminator if Joseph pulls the trigger here.
Yep. There's 735 in the pot. If you're Joseph, you'd want to really size it up, I think, because it looks like Terminator's holding on.
Looks like Terminator
With
has a king.
Yeah, holding on with like a king-queen kind of a hand. Joseph, he's reaching. I think you got to go at least like 550, 600.
1,000.
Whoa! He's now repping like aces full of force.
Yeah. Or maybe ace king.
Trying to figure out where you were on the flop. I meant to put more money out there, to be honest with you. Fuck.
10 seconds.
Terminator misclicked his raise, he's saying.
Is he considering calling with queens here?
Well, he
this
used
would
up a
be,
time
This would
card.
be absurd. This would be devastating to Joseph.
This would be one of the more shocking correct calls, you know, in Poker Time history if he somehow makes this call. How can he make this call?
Such an uncomfortable feeling if you're Joseph right now.
Joseph is like, come on, just fold your king, man.
I got pocket queens.
And there's the fold.
Joseph breathed a sigh of relief there.
Fucking
Had 3-4 that
That would have been good.
You're 3-4?
Yeah.
3-4 us. Nice hand.
Thank you.
Nice hand.
Joseph says nice hand back, I think because he's so like still caught up in the bluff part of it. Normally wouldn't do that.
I wish you would have hit a queen on the river.
I thought he said thank you when somebody else
Did
said
he?
nice
Oh,
hand.
I thought he said nice hand as well.
It's full already, I guess.
Wow. I thought it was a requirement for people to
Well,
pay
now in
you
a
off
couple
the pocket
weeks,
queens. Scary boards.
Well, that was an exciting hand by Joseph.
A terrifying hand if you are Joseph and you put $1,000 out there with Jack high in the river and Terminator starts tanking.
Yeah. Yeah, he sides in that way, hopefully, so there wouldn't be much of a tank. But I don't know how much of a legit tank that was. I mean, that would have been...
Do you think that was an entitlement tilt tank because he had such a big hand to start the hand?
I think so. I think so. We've all been there.
Fold.
I know, that's why I said it.
No, not everybody's good to start with.
Everybody's better off lucky.
Heads up.
What do they say? Rather be lucky than good, right?
Got a jack for Ken.
Check.
Ken checks it back. I like to see it.
It's a good check back.
Yep.
Spade.
10 would be bad for Batiste, but a spade would be good for Batiste.
I'm saying it wouldn't.
Time to start betting, Ken.
Nobody's loving the board.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't rooting for any
I would have had a full
particular card.
house, though.
It's 35.
Wow. Batiste just folds. Batiste has been giving Ken credit since the first time Ken ever came on this show.
Yeah?
Probably not for a while.
Yeah.
So I remember him folding like top to Ken. Drew went check on the turn, and Ken just bet the river.
As we see, there hasn't been a ton of chip movement so far.
That's pretty
Some
early.
bigger pots, but not a ton of chip movement.
Terminator somehow was up 310. What did he win when he was up 310?
Did you know that?
I did.
Why are you trying to make me remember?
It doesn't. I don't remember that. I remember Terminator just losing a big pot.
He won a different big pot,
Yeah.
I guess.
Somebody lost a pot where they kept putting in money, so maybe that was.
Way to make us look professional. Thanks a lot, John.
Can't remember.
Fold. Fold. Fold.
Yeah, I remember the hand. It's when he bet small in the river against Joseph when he made the flush.
Ah, yes. Also against Wonka, you had the 10-6.
Right, but he didn't make that much money in that one.
Made a reasonable amount.
I mean, Wonka folded the river
Yeah, but he got called on the turn for
like 100 and
it was
something.
more than that, wasn't it? Look at this. No pre-flop raises for Wonka yet. We are still early on, as you said.
Yeah,
It's probably a little bit
played.
early for this statistic to come up.
Yeah, I think it definitely is.
Need a couple hours. There it is again.
Well, just in case you missed it, Jebediah. One time at it, only once. Only have to bring it up once and not so early next time.
We don't go to the game comes to us.
Fold. Fold.
Wonka's going to get in that PFR game with this hand.
Raise 40. Fold.
He's a rebel with that hat, and he doesn't have to raise if he doesn't want to. Not anymore. Not because you tell him to.
But he did anyway, so
Yeah.
it looks like maybe I manipulated him pretty well.
Heads up.
Publicize on YouTube.
Not a flop that either player is too thrilled about. Don't know if Wonka can see bet profitably here. Probably not.
He's going to, though, against Digital Dan.
I feel like the small blind calling range is a little too much all over that board.
Gonna work. I was expecting him to check that as well, though. But he's Wonka.
He won.
Technically perfect.
Is he?
I don't know. I'm just saying that. Probably not. Definitely not.
No, nobody is.
But it's fun to say that about someone.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah. Also, if you guys, anyone out there, I can't say what I'm about to say because people may actually do it. This is the danger of having people watch and listen to you. You make a joke and they do violence to people. I was going to make a joke about someone.
You don't want to create a whole Jonestown scenario.
I was going to make a joke about someone doing violence to Wonka, but
Jeremy might want to create a whole Jonestown scenario.
We'll send a T-shirt out to anyone, but then someone actually may then hit him in the face, which is clearly not what we want. So, I mean, I want it only in my mind. I want to see it in my mind only, not in real life.
No, I don't know. Really?
Well, spades would be a problem here for
I haven't booked my.
the chocolate maven.
The chocolate maven.
Yeah, Wonka. Willy Wonka?
Did you mean to say magnate?
No, I sort of did mean maven. He is, by the way, a maven. He's an expert on chocolate and always.
Are we sure that Willy Wonka is an expert on chocolate? All we know is that he produces it and has creepy stuff going on.
All we know, they've been books written about.
All right, so Wonka flops trips, but nobody else has flopped anything to give him action.
Yeah, he's going to need Terminator to decide to get sticky with 2 back doors.
Dog shit there.
Oh, well, Wonka checks it. And although it checks through, there are some bad turn cards for everyone else. And there we go.
That's a really bad turn card for Terminator because Wonka now has locked it up.
By the way, a 9
makes
Ken
it straight. And Terminator, by the way.
Ken is very sticky when he has any kind of anything of a draw. So
Terminator has an open ender as well.
Yeah. Terminator's got the bad end of the open ender.
Some game they play. Like a role-playing game.
And on this paired board with 2 diamonds, I think it'd be a questionable call.
It looks like he's raising.
Oh, that's better than a call for sure.
Yeah. Now Ken's going to fold.
That excited about this.
Unless Ken wants to put in another raise.
I recommend it to people, but it's not. Like
Is Ken not going to fold?
Ken is going to fold. So Wonka's loving this. He's got the nuts. He just got raised.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Well, it's not the nuts, but, close.
What's the nuts?
8's full.
You're right.
From Wonka's perspective, that is. As we know, quad 7s is the actual nuts.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were saying. I'm like, he's got a 7, but I'm the dummy.
No, the tournaments are really small.
Yeah. Too big time, Batiste.
No.
No, you're right. There's
to raise or to call.
You out on that Reno? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonka has certainly the effective nuts. He got to believe Terminator's going to bet 2 8s.
The structures are like 20 minutes.
410.
Yeah.
He does put in the 3-bet.
Yeah.
He's going to get the bad news that was the wrong choice pretty soon, I think.
He's putting the 3-bet with the intention of never folding. Of course.
Obviously.
You can't.
Yeah.
On the hold
The bad news is that Terminator's going to throw his hand away. Almost certainly.
Well, they start at like 5, so the evening ones have to be quick.
No, I hear you, but I mean,
Terminator wants to get real squirrely. He could decide to put Wonka on like King, Queen of Diamonds.
I mean, it's a weird line that Wonka's taking, right? Where he checks the flop and now is 3-betting the turn. He's got to have a hand like 6s, 8s, quad 7s, 8-7, 6-7. That's pretty much it. I guess 9-10. But I don't even know if he'd put in a 3-bet with 9-10, honestly. He might not. Probably wouldn't.
Especially with people that are not used to those games.
Right.
Can't fold. They like say fold, but they don't like.
All right, I fold.
Yeah, Terminator realizes he's just drawing dead way too often to even consider calling.
Might have been considering a shove.
I think they made it long.
Real hand side. Real hand.
the all-in or fold is quicker, like 15 or something. But I mean, 10, I don't know what it is. We don't need time, obviously.
It should be.
Once in a while, they just have it.
I hate it when they have it.
Yeah, me too. So Terminator continues to redistribute the early winnings from when he made that flush
Yeah.
back to the table.
You know what sucks? When you're like, well, the only way you really have a big hand is if you have this hand and you call and they have that hand. And you're like, oh, that's too bad that you have
Well,
that hand.
at least you have the right
Yeah.
general understanding of the story and the read, though, you know.
But the narrative in your mind at that time is like, but they don't really have that hand, right?
Yeah. The worst is though when you're like, well, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, you only have this, this, and this, and they have one of the hands you eliminated early,
Yeah.
and you call and you lose. You're like, oh man, I just completely did that wrong.
Yeah.
To me, that's way
Well,
worse.
yeah, that is worse for sure.
Maybe you don't know who that is.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
And
Digital Dan and Terminator with hands this time. Dan continues his the love of the call.
The love of the call.
Yeah, he loves to call. And by the way, that's why they call him Digital Dan, because he was one of the early adopters of digital phones.
That one's not that good.
Digital phones? What is a digital phone?
I mean, there's like when a cordless phone. That's like
That
kind
is
of
not digital.
It's more digital than it used to be.
Come on, I made up a new product and you're telling me it's no good. Come on. By the way, geniuses at Microsoft, get on that.
Digital. I mean, our phones are digital.
Instead of
Yeah, they kind of get to decide how.
They're certainly not
I mean,
analog.
you're really reaching.
They're not
Don't you-
analog.
Don't you think you're reaching right now? Our phones are digital. Because everyone refers to them as digital phones. Like if you say it's digital phone, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean."
I mean, if you're gonna
Sure.
if you're gonna choose digital or analog, which is the binary scale we're working with here,
Right.
they're digital.
So when I said digital phone, you knew what I meant.
I think what I was thinking you meant, because you were talking about the early adoption, is when they like made it so you don't have to have an Ethernet cord anymore, or like
An
the
Ethernet
not
cord?
Ethernet cord, but like the thing that looks like an Ethernet cord, a phone cord. I'm a millennial.
An Ethernet cord. That's great.
I'm a millennial. What can I say?
We're gonna beat the Warriors.
End of the game last night was
the
fun.
Warriors don't care.
Raise 35.
Which game?
Not this hand.
Blazers.
Turner continues to raise a whole lot.
Seconds nail 3 to win.
Ken's looks like he's gonna do your favorite move, Grant.
Yep.
The cold call with the ace 9 off. There's nothing Grant hates more than a cold call with ace 9 off. Pretty much in the world.
Smell.
Yeah, it's worse than anything else in the world. It's accurate.
Terminator checks. Ken has the best hand and checks it back. Ken is going to feel more comfortable now, but Terminator picks up the gutter.
I would expect Terminator to bet that
I'm
card.
really surprised he didn't. Really surprised.
I was just gonna check fold.
Wow.
It's weird.
Very confusing. Feels like a pretty clear not fold spot for
Yeah.
Terminator. Guess he thought Ken was strong when Ken checked it back, maybe?
I guess so.
He's worried he's drawing either dead or nearly dead.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a big day tomorrow, guys. The Masters start.
Oh boy.
You're absolutely right about
Care
that.
about
This
that?
is a big deal.
Birthday tomorrow too.
I don't play golf, but I like watching it for some reason. That is weird.
Is Terminator gonna open this? We'll know for sure if he's terminating. If he does, guess not.
Birthday tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You like Batiste
No party
Jr. with
hats?
short hair.
This is another one of those hands. In the old days, Batista 100% was opening that in early poker time days.
Yeah,
Raise 35.
And in the old days, Dan was limping that. He still
that's
limps
true.
a lot.
You get a knock on the door someday. Hey, you're my dad.
My nephew somehow got tickets to that.
Jamie's going to flat with the queen 9 suited on the button.
it's a bit loose.
I got to believe it's only because that button is in front of him.
Yeah,
He's only going to call probably the big blind and the button with that hand. As you can see, he is dominated by Wonka.
but Wonka's diamond dominated by Digital Dan, and that is alliteration.
Yes, it is.
And nobody flops much. Dan flops a 4, but
Yeah. Dan
it's
flops
not.
2 pair.
Yeah, we
He does flop. He's like 2 pair, 2 pair.
Wonka's going to lead here. Hard not to love that.
Just repping a jack. Repping a jack, and if a heart comes in, he'll start repping a flush.
Yeah, I think that's right. Dan really should be calling once and reevaluating on the turn, but he's got Jeremy behind him, which sort of sucks. And sometimes he's drawing nearly dead.
Yeah, this is where
It's not crazy to throw it away.
if you give Wonka a more reasonable range, you think you're not doing well against that range.
The problem is, if Wonka's going to make plays like this ever, you're just getting exploited really hardcore.
Yeah, but we haven't seen Wonka make a ton of plays like this.
It's
so
true.
I think it's fair to fold there.
Yeah. But look, Jeremy hasn't folded yet.
He doesn't
Jeremy's
believe.
gonna
He's
flat.
gonna float
This
here.
is the Phil Ivey play.
I
It's
mean,
one of the Phil Ivey
the Phil Ivey
plays.
plays if Dan had already floated or already.
Okay,
called.
well, there's a bunch of Phil Ivey plays when the board's paired. The board, it's basically just the board's paired, and I'm attacking.
This is a spot where both players are going to want to rep hearts.
Wonka, though, may feel a little less inclined to because Jeremy called, where now Jeremy often has hearts or trip jacks. But Wonka is going to fire again. Look at the heart.
105.
Let's see whose nefarious plans are more effective here.
Wonka bet's quite small, less than half pot. He could have a hand as weak as... I mean, would he really bet trip jacks here?
I don't think he would.
And Jeremy now feels like he has to give it up because hearts come in.
I thought Jeremy might try to rep hearts, but Wonka has a reasonable representation of hearts himself.
I really thought Wonka was going to give up when the heart came in, thinking, what can I beat? Not what can I beat, but what can I get to fold? Now that trip jacks and hearts are out there, Jeremy wouldn't fold trip jacks on the turn, and Wonka knows that.
Maybe it's a 3-street plan. He's thinking, okay, Jeremy has trip jack slot. I'm going to bomb the river.
The problem is, maybe he also thinks because the board's paired, he can also get Jeremy off of hearts sometimes, weak hearts, if he does 3 streets.
It's an ambitious plan.
Super ambitious. And also, now Wonka's talking about having Jack 4 suited or pocket 4s on the flop, which he really might lead with.
Yeah.
Especially
or,
pocket
he
4s.
could have turned or rivered full houses too.
Yeah, of course he could. But as Jeremy, if you have a flush, you're going to just probably, as we like to say, close your eyes and call.
Mason getting a little loose here with Queen 6 suited +2.
That's going to work like a charm.
$15.
Lock it up. Steak sandwiches on Mason.
Steak sandwiches.
You don't like a steak sandwich?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. What's weird about talking about steak sandwiches?
I don't know why you were specific about the type of sandwich. That's what I'm curious about.
If I just say sandwiches on Mason, that could be anything.
It could be sandwiches.
Yeah. That could be like tuna. It could be
Tuna's good.
a barley sandwich. You ever have one of those?
What the hell are you talking about? A barley sandwich?
A barley sandwich. They're not good.
That's not a real thing.
What does that even mean? Not real. Like, if you put barley between 2 pieces of bread, throw some American cheese in there, you've got a barley sandwich. What am I crazy?
Are you saying that's a thing that people make
mayo?
and serve?
In the history of the world, it's probably happened at least once.
So you just decided to choose a random thing and say that word, then sandwich.
I wouldn't say it was random. Barley is used in food, so it's
anyway,
at least plausible.
Mason has ace king again.
Jeremy's got ace jack suited, and he's seen Mason 3-bet a fair amount, but still, the discipline kicks in. Boy, that's a pretty good hand. Ace jack suited when a guy's been 3-betting a fair amount, too. With position even, but he lets it go.
Well, Mason has had ace king 4 times.
It's possible Jeremy's played with Mason a lot, too. Wouldn't be surprising to me. Digital Dan.
Jeremy wouldn't remember that, though.
The whole table has like memento disease when it comes to Mason. Digital Dan is deciding not to fold. Maybe he thinks Mason's just been 3-betting a little too much. But
it is under the gun and +1. King, queen off doesn't usually play well in this scenario.
No, it does not. And as we see, it's in trouble.
Well, now it's not in so much trouble.
It's in slightly less trouble.
It's a good flop for Dan in that he gets to win through aggression a lot of the time.
That is right. Because equity-wise, he loses equity on this flop, even though it looks like a good flop for him.
Ken Jennings has the most.
Helps Mason have the king of diamonds and Dan have no diamonds.
I'm surprised Mason doesn't bet this, actually, with shots to the nuts and things like that.
Shots to the nuts.
I said it, and I meant to say it. Dan really should be betting right now, or be check-raising turn, I think. He should take an aggressive action with this hand and this board.
It was on ESPN, the write-up.
Yeah, this seems right.
It looks like Mason has the hand he has, right?
Yep, ace, king, ace, queen. Maybe 9s or 8s or something. Very few hands that love to get bet into. And I think Dan's plan should be to bet rivers. Pretty much all rivers. Doesn't have to do it, though. Mason throws it away. Wow, Mason gives him a look of death. Do you see that?
I think that's Mason's poker face. Mason looks like a guy who's always going to be taking aggressive actions with weird hands. He's got that look like, buddy, you 3-betting me with nothing again? You doing that, Mason?
Yeah.
He's got that look.
Yep.
You got to double up a couple times.
And then you go for the whole thing in the end, which is pretty dumb.
Yeah, between Mason and Jeremy, it's a dangerous table.
And Wonka, he's in a biker gang.
That's a good point, actually. Wonka's like lead pipe you to the leg.
And slash tires left and right just for fun.
Yeah.
Question right. You should probably bet a good bet.
By the way, that is really offensive to biker gangs. A biker gang doesn't have to be violent, and it doesn't have to be. There's a lot of great biker gangs out there who are friendly.
Okay,
I'm saying that Grant Dennison, would say that.
I'm going with the Sons of Anarchy style biker gang.
Okay, fair enough. He could be in the Sons of Anarchy, and that is a different type. I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes, but
Those guys, they do violence.
They definitely do violence. Ron Perlman's in that.
Yeah, he looks like a caveman.
Katie Sagal. Charlie Hunnam. That made Charlie Hunnam a star somehow.
Star?
He's in movies now.
Star?
He's in movies. He was in
You're gonna stick
Gallipoli.
by that? You're gonna stick by Star?
Gallipoli.
Are you really sticking Gallipoli? What the hell is Gallipoli?
Oh, isn't that right? Oh no, Gallipoli. No, I'm not. I'm thinking of a different movie.
He's not a star. I think you've proven that.
No, Lost City of Z.
Oh, that, yeah. He was in that.
Yeah, he was the star of that.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, it's not Gallipoli that he was in. He was in a movie that sounds sort of like Gallipoli.
Look at this. Ken is betting into the world with king high. And
Is it
it's
gonna
probably
work?
going to work unless Batiste decides to do something.
I'm pretty sure
I can appreciate it, but
I'm pretty sure stage 4 pancreatic
think
cancer is
Batiste-
like
well,
77%.
How much is it? 110?
yeah, it's
out
really
of position.
low. I mean, 5 years of lava rates, like
Dan behind you.
less than that, I think.
I'm just excited because I've always wanted to be the host of
He
Jeopardy.
wants to do something so badly, but there's the face. Yeah, right.
That is the power of the C-bet. I don't know if it's advisable to C-bet king high with no real equity into a billion people, but it worked out well for Ken that
It
time.
is. Do you know you're actually mispronouncing that word? What you're saying?
C-bet?
No. You pronounce it as advisable.
Yeah.
It's advisible. Advisible.
Advisible?
I'm not sure if it's advisible.
Like divisible?
It's like divisible, but it's advisible. You just put an A in front of it, basically. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it is like divisible. Yeah. Advisible.
I'm going to go ahead and keep saying advisable.
Wow. Tag your tweets.
About how Levy's a douche.
Hashtag Levy's a douche.
I didn't even mean to make a pun either. That was just a poker reference,
You just
Poker reference.
think in terms of poker.
I guess.
Free rolling and drawing dead.
Raise 40. Fold.
Trebek is kind of similar to the poker
Suck it,
guys in a
Trebek.
way.
Fold.
Because Trebek always acts like he, of course, knows the answer.
Yeah.
You know, because he can see the whole cards, you know?
He does answer.
Wonka taking a shot at us there.
Saturday night. Well, I guess that's the
Bastard.
darker.
I don't think they're going to.
It's not like you're taking a shot at Alex Trebek.
Oh, they have to, yeah.
Well, he loves to take a shot at dying people. It's great. Great for the brand,
Wow.
Wonka.
Couldn't have loving that.
Alex Trebek is sick. Is he dying?
He has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It's very bad.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Keep up with these things.
It's like a joke about him passing.
Jeopardy.
This means they're gonna bring back the celebrity. I'm digging a hole here for Trebek.
Digging a hole?
You can go pitch that
On
to
to the
Lauren
break,
Michaels.
guys.
So you think Ken Jennings is going to take over once? Because you're sure Alex Trebek is going to die. So you think
I'm
Ken
not-
Jennings is going to take over after that?
I think he's
He's at least going to take a break.
he's a candidate.
I mean,
Ken
he's
Jennings.
probably the best
I mean,
candidate.
Trebek could beat this. And
You
I
just said he was dying.
I mean, the survival rate is not good.
Yeah.
It's like 20%.
Okay. He's not dying.
And he's got a lot of money, so maybe he's got a good chance.
I mean, he's Alex Trebek. He doesn't need a lot of money to get the best surgeons in the world. Everyone wants to see that guy live, right?
Oh, of course they do.
That's like the. Now we don't know what happens at home with Alex Trebek, but he seems like the straightest, nicest. You know, when I say straight, I mean like straight. You know, like not like goody two shoes type guy in the world, right?
Seems like he's in the David Attenborough character.
Yeah, yeah,
category.
Like among most disappointing people, if there was a Me Too thing
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks more, but Alex Trebek is right up there.
Nope. You can have it.
We all hope he makes it.
On him.
Of
And
course,
now
by the time you're hearing this, you may know more than we do.
yes,
'cause it
it's
is-
possible.
This is coming out.
A couple months from when we're
Yeah.
recording this commentary.
Hopefully everything's fine.
Anyway, Wonka's a jerk.
Yeah. So by the way, if something has happened, we're not being insensitive.
Yeah.
We're recording this in May,
Yeah,
relatively early May.
Pattern thing.
that's a good point. Good thing,
Yeah, I
good
just
thing to
realized
bring
that.
up.
Like, may not be so funny.
Thanks, Wonka.
Yeah.
I mean,
But this
I actually think the whole table was talking about it.
Family Feud.
today. But I was going to do it anyways because you know that because I
Plays
remember
what's
I
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
something to you once.
The comedian.
Fold.
With those
I
family.
still got the tag on this.
That would suck if the one way we went viral is really,
Yeah.
really bad.
Anyway, Batiste opens the ace-7 of hearts.
Fold.
No,
It says Batiste won, but
nope. Jeremy is gonna call. It looks like.
yeah. Here we go. Finally, the matchup we've been waiting for. Batiste basically against Batiste here, in terms of glasses, anyway.
Okay. Jeremy flops really well for his hand.
He just checks it back.
Seems like a dry enough board that Batiste could continue there.
Does. Batiste thinks his hand is. Batiste maybe bluff catching turns sometimes?
It's not a great turn card.
I mean, it's sort of just a random turn card, though.
I mean, Jeremy could have a flush now, is what I'm saying.
Of course he could, but he could also not have a flush.
The 5
right?
of spades would be a better turn card.
Yeah. But Batiste agrees with me. Of course, we see that Jeremy's winning. But it's not because of the turn. Oh, that's a terrible card for both players. Problem for Jeremy is Batiste absolutely has big diamonds here.
Yeah. He does. And he's,
Batiste looks like he's going to turn this hand into a bluff. I really like this once Jeremy checks.
yeah, I think it's the right play.
Bet 25.
Jeremy's like, is that jack? Is that diamond? No, it's hearts. So now what in the world did Batiste call the turn with after checking back and it bets the river with that you can beat? I guess the answer is this kind of a hand.
Yeah, ace high.
Some ace highs. I mean, it's just a tough spot. Yeah. The situation kind of demands a fold, I think, from Jeremy.
I think so too.
Hey,
That went incredibly well for Batiste, considering.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure. If I got really lucky or not.
4 diamonds and a.
Couldn't remember if I had the jack of diamonds or the jack of hearts. So I just checked.
Obviously, it was the jack of hearts.
No, I just had the jack of diamonds. I figured either way, it checks probably the right idea.
Protects your check.
Fold.
If you don't remember your cards, then you're probably going to be pretty
I
bad.
think Terminator's going to limp the ace 9 here. Okay.
Well, he didn't cold call a raise with it, so you don't,
Yeah.
you're not freaking out. That's good.
Mason's going to raise it up with the queen 10 suited.
It's a pretty hand. We haven't seen anyone else have that yet.
Yes, we have. Wonka had queen 10 of diamonds in the big blind about 13 hands ago.
Yeah, he bluffed with it.
Yeah.
Very successfully. Just with the call. Terminator with the call. Terminator with the best hand.
Hard to realize that, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he'll realize if he flops something.
Well said.
Thanks.
Nobody flops anything. Mason's a favorite at this point, I
Yeah,
think.
Mason's usually going to continue on this board, especially with the backdoor flush draw. Let's see if he's actually going to do that. I'm saying he's usually going to because
I'd be shocked if he did.
I was making some guesses about player type there.
In the first round?
No.
For sure? Or tonight?
Tonight, definitely not.
Joseph is considering here. He doesn't believe.
Well, Joseph's aware that this board is way better for him than the other two guys. And even if Mason were to have an overpair, Joseph really has a lot of trip fours here and might
7 and 8. Clip.
could make a play at it.
Mine.
No, the Spurs are in.
Looks like he's decided against it.
Yeah, you can't do that too often. And Terminator folds right away, and Mason takes the worst hand and makes it the winner.
There's a lot of things that can happen.
It was, maybe the most playable of those three hands, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was.
The top 4.
Yeah, not the bottom.
Feels like the bottom doesn't matter much.
But you just get used to these guys wearing denim. I don't even see it anymore.
Oh, I see it.
I don't see denim though. I don't see fabric.
It's scarred into my retina.
I like the Nets.
I like them too. I'm
Yeah.
saying, do they have a chance?
I think it depends on who they play in the first round.
Fold.
They could beat the Celtics.
Orlando. I think the Celtics are vulnerable to a lot of teams, actually.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
But he's folding the queen jack in early position there. Little out of character.
Figure it out.
Yeah, what they've shown.
Still early.
Ace on the button for Jeremy. Pretty obvious open.
35. Fold.
Walker's got a pretty obvious defend of some sort.
Jeremiah is telling me this is the last hand of this episode.
Who is Jeremiah? His name is Jebediah. Wow.
Who cares?
Wow.
We're going to fire him anyway.
We fire everyone. But a little something for everyone here.
He's probably going to go check bet call.
One would expect that. Nope. Jeremy's going to check back because of his kicker. Try and get 2 streets later. It's a good card for Jeremy.
Sort of. I mean, he does have the 6 of hearts. He probably doesn't love the heart.
I mean, sure, but he's almost always ahead here when Wonka checks again.
Yeah. The one that really struck
That's
it.
40.
With Audie? Audie was playing?
Yeah. Ran pretty good.
Did he? Yeah, I watched it.
Can't really imagine Wonka can just fold here for $40.
That guy. Wow. No jack.
And he cannot.
The question is if Jeremy goes for value on the river. Well,
6 no longer plays.
and the 3 is a card that Wonka could have.
And
Who got the quad?
And he ran good there because somehow he doesn't
Nice.
get
I gotta watch
stacked. I
that.
was in the wrong spot, though. It's first act.
Wonka really might check a 3 also because the 3rd heart came.
I think it's the right move to check
Yeah.
there. And Jeremy's going to get to win the last hand of this episode of Poker Time.
There the whole session, parallel.
We'll see you next week for some more denim. Some more fun with
Yes,
denim.
the Lord of Denim. Here's the winnings.
And
Wow.
it's really even. Look at that.
Wow. Weird. Really weird.